Sorry, I'm crying because I know Jason's going to pick Wilco and win this year.
What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Taste Like Music. Jason, Joe, and Crams are here. It is our Songs of the Year series. We're up to 2001 now. If you haven't seen the series before, we pick 5 songs from the Billboard Hot 100 that are our favorites. Then we do 5 more that are wildcards that didn't have to chart, that could be from anywhere at all. I think this year for the Hot 100, not a good year, but I think it's slightly better than the wasteland that 2000 was. And I thought the wildcard side was loaded. I had a ton to pick from on that side. So I think it's a better year than it was the previous year, but still not great. How you guys feeling?
100% deeper wild cards, a lousy year, but better than 2000 for the Billboard.
Yeah, I actually found a lot on the Billboard and some weirder stuff. It seems like rock made a little bit of a renaissance in both good and bad, but 1,000 times better than 2000.
All right, so we can get into the picks. I do also want to mention that one of our lists will be one song short. We save our favorite of the year for the very end. We also make a selection for our least favorite top 40 song of the year, but we're going to kick off with the Hot 100 chart. I'm not sure whose turn it is. Maybe Joe's? Crams? All right.
Let's go with this performer I've been talking about. Finally get to talk about her. Got Dido with Thank You, Billboarding. This song actually came out in 98 or something for the Sliding Doors soundtrack, but didn't get onto her album until 2000, and it didn't chart until 2001. So really long journey for this song, but I've always liked it. It's got a great rainy day kind of feel to it. The acoustic guitar part is cool, and I just like the song. It's got a good voice. Here's another song that I actually didn't really like when it came out, but I really dig it now. I've got Jaded by Aerosmith, which I just kind of like the vibe of it. It's got a really cool, catchy chorus. I like the sound of that guitar, kind of witchy and twangy. I really like it. Got to have this one on here. Falling, Alicia Keys, absolutely sensational. Kind of R&B, really kind of groovy, but low key, dark, mellow a little bit. And her vocal performance is just stunning. Also going with a couple more rock tunes. So I guess Joe's right. A little bit of a weak renaissance, but a renaissance, if you will. Going with Dream On by Depeche Mode from their lousy ass album Exciter, but it starts off well with this opening track, which has, a very Radiohead stolen kind of beat to it, cool acoustic guitar. It's still got that Depeche Mode, seedy European club kind of sexuality to it, but with the way everything comes together in it is really nice. And then finally, get out your Quicksilver shirts and get ready to snowboard. We're going Incubus, baby, with Wish You Were Here. Really cool song. Nothing fancy, just really catchy. It's got a really pretty arpeggio guitar part in the verse. I'm not nearly as big on Incubus as I was back in the day, but I still like them a little bit, and this song always brings back fond memories. So yeah, these 5 are pretty good. I really like the Dido song, probably the most of those 5. Nothing amazing, but definitely not as barren as 2000. So I like pretty much all these picks more than anything from last year.
Oh, Khalid looks like I'm going second here. Well, I had actually a hard time narrowing these down here on the Billboard. A lot of decent stuff. We'll start with the band I never expected to chart, but they did somehow. Tool with Schism actually charted. They got all the way up to number 67 or something. This song is just great for the bass line alone. The way it kind of slides in with those chords. And then it's an awesome bass line. It was so much fun to play that one when I was playing bass back in the day. Also on my list, I got one from Matchbox 20, surprisingly. But I've always loved, maybe not loved, but I've always liked strongly Mad Season, the song. surprisingly good. I can't think of another Matchbox 20 song that I like enough. But this one has a really catchy chorus, surprisingly complex guitar lead. Rob Thomas is so hit or miss, but he does it here. He sings it in a manner that isn't just like horribly annoying. So it gets the job done here in 2001. Also, my list, this is tough. I don't know how much I really like this song anymore, but it's nostalgia. I'll throw it on here. I Did It from Dave Matthews Band. Did a couple charting here, even though that album, when it came out, Every Day was a huge, just kick right between the legs for me. It was not the direction I was expecting them to go in. The pop, really smooth production. I think Glenn Ballard produced it or something. A bit of a misstep, but the first single, I Did It, was pretty decent. And then we'll do Girls, Girls, Girls from Jay-Z. One of my all-time favorite rap tunes. Just really great performance by Jay-Z on that. Not the deepest lyrics, but he sells it really well. And the sample is amazing. And my number one, that was going to be Clint Eastwood from the Gorillaz. I don't love the Gorillaz, but I remember when this song came out and it was just like huge, a revelation, mostly not because of the Gorillaz, mostly because of Del the Funky Homo Sapien. His rap part is just so cool, so catchy. And I do like the backing track because it sounds like it should be from like a zombie movie or something. You got this really cool rap going over it. Very unique from Damon Albarn and company, but Del the Funky Homo Sapien is the reason why I like it.
Missed that one. I need like a clerk or assistant or something to help me get through these lists. I don't know how I missed that one.
I will send you a link that has literally every single that charted when it charted and how it charted. So you can't miss anything. I've been just like browsing it every year now. It's really helped me out find these like weird lower charting songs.
I'm gonna predict Jason goes Alien Ant Farm here with Smooth Criminal.
No.
I thought about that.
If a different song from that album had hit the Hot 100 in 2001, I probably would have, but I think that's the only one that cracked. I've got a couple in common with Cram. First one is Wish You Were Here by Incubus. I was a massive Incubus fan back in the day, probably was my favorite band for at least a minute. The single, when this came out, was so different from anything that was on Make Yourself. Obviously, my love of Incubus has cooled off dramatically since then, but when I hear those records and those songs, I still really enjoy them. Then another one that I'm surprised Cram didn't have this. I know he's mentioned it in previous videos, but I got Hanging by a Moment by Lifehouse. I mean, this song was everywhere. I think it's a pretty good pop rock song, produced by Ron Aniello, mixed by Brendan O'Brien. I think it's got a great hook. You know, it's nothing fancy, but it's fine. It's a decent little gem of a tune. That whole record's actually decent. Then I'm going to go with perhaps the surprise of the entire series. I've got By Your Side by Sade. I really like Sade's approach to R&B. It's super smooth, very relaxed, doesn't like over emote. This song was covered by Beachwood Sparks, which is like a country rock band. And their cover of it isn't amazing, but it does illustrate how like transferable the writing is to like different genres. At its core, it's just a very basic song that it's almost genreless, but I really like it, and her voice is great. I also have Jaded by Aerosmith. I think Aerosmith really redeemed themselves after Armageddon with I think this is one of their all-time hookiest songs. You know, it's definitely not the Aerosmith of the 70s, but I think it's super well crafted. It sounds really cool, and it kind of skirts around all the production issues that all the other tracks on that record had. I think it's got really cool guitar tones. I think that main riff is really unique. It's got kind of like that Middle Eastern thing happening. And then my last pick for the Hot 100 is R.E.M. with Imitation of Life. This was number 5 on my top 10 songs for R.E.M. list. I think it's a great R.E.M. tune. It debuted at number 83 and it just fell off the charts from there. So it wasn't super successful, but it's got such a good chorus. It's got those, signature kind of jangly guitars. It's got this really fat, buzzy, like moogie sounding synth underneath. And it's just got one of the coolest music videos ever too. I love it. I think it's really interesting and cool. So those are my picks for the Hot 100. Let's do the wild cards.
Wild cards coming up. Thought you would have Nelly Furtado in there, maybe. I know you're a big Nelly guy, Nelly Furtado. All right. Every one of my tracks is from an Album of the Year nominee. Tried to go a little deeper than that, but just being honest here. But it is a deep year. There were, like Jason said, a lot of other songs that I considered. But here we go. By Ryan Adams, I got La Cienga Just Smiled. Absolutely beautiful song. I've never read what it's actually about, and I've kind of like changed my mind on what I think it's about when I listen to it, but I kind of think it's like, I don't know, it's about a lot of things, but the one line that really throws me when he says, one breaks my body and one breaks my soul, kind of think it's like maybe about being about two women, one that's like all lust and the other's like all love, who knows? But it's a tremendous song. There's that really awesome, just steady acoustic part that's kind of just keeping time along with that little snare tap. And then you get this really nice like mellotron or strings or something that come in the end. It's just really sweet and sensational. Then from My Morning Jacket, I've got At Dawn, which is a big, old, spacious, loud, acoustic, just beauty of a song. And he sounds so amazing. It's just his voice is going on for days and it just is absolutely gorgeous. Soars through the sky. It's got that tremendous hollowed out reverb sound. Then a couple from Amnesiac by Radiohead. I've got I Might Be Wrong, which is really, really awesome. It's got that cool kind of hip hop beat. It's very modern and it's got like, the bleeps and bloops, but I think maybe even Joe can take it on this one. And it's got that really cool guitar part to it. And that bass line that comes in takes forever to eventually come in. Like it doesn't come into like a minute in or so, but it's just super awesome. Lyrics are great. It's back when Tom really did that crystal clear falsetto. Wonderful. One of the more straightforward songs on that album. And then I've also got Pyramid Song, which is their big haunting piano ballad. It's got that really cool time signature to it. The oohs that Tom does at the beginning are just awesome. It's something that feels like you're in like a Kubrick movie or something, and like the sun is coming down over like a pyramid or something. It's just like really otherworldly. It just transcends you. It's just a beautiful atmosphere to that song. Really cool. Get kind of like their version of Dark Side of the Moon vibes a little bit to it. And yeah, absolutely sensational. And we'll talk about my winner later.
Right, I got 4 for you here. Number 5 from Muse. I got Hyper Music. Just a brutal riff from Matt Bellamy. Love the rising bass line on the verse. It's a really smashing, just crashing, heavy, great rock song. From Origin of Symmetry. Number 4, I got Cherry Bomb from Ash. Infectious 70s California. Kissed Power Pop. A nice 180 from the sort of dour. No, they kind of did a Weezer thing where, they started off with a strong pop rock album. And they kind of went sour and dour and dark on the sophomore. And then they came back with a nice, catchy third album. I think this one's better though than Green Album. And just love the waves of wah that stream from Tim Wheeler's guitar, just all over this album, but especially on Cherry Bomb. Number 3, Party Hard. When it's time to party, we will party hard. Andrew WK, of course. Can't get much more party than this. Kind of sounds like Cavemen, just like singing. Like there's so many overdubs and layers of production on this song that really doesn't sound like anything else ever. I don't know. It's just bizarre, but it just works. It's just so catchy. When it comes on, you just want to party, and that's what Andrew WK is all about. And my runner-up is going to be Destiny from 07. I've always just loved this song. It's very smooth, cool, electronic, electronic trip hop. I don't know exactly what it is. Everyone compares them to Air. So whatever Air is. But the vocals from Sophie Barker on this are just so good, alluring. It's a really cool song that I don't even know where I would have heard this back in 2001 or why I even know about it, but I must have heard it on the radio and just caught my ear, and I've loved it ever since. So my runner up.
All right, my wild cards. First one is Mississippi by Bob Dylan, recorded with Daniel Lanois for The Time Out of Mind, but Dylan wasn't happy with that version. I don't think I've ever actually heard that version, but apparently it was more of like a polyrhythmic thing that Lanois did to it, and Dylan didn't think it served the song in the right way. So he recut it for this record. It's just really simple, kind of basic songwriting. I love the bass playing on it. That kind of triplet feel that it plays throughout the whole song just really drives it forward. I think it's great. Then I'm going with a track from my album of the year. At one point, this might have been my song of the year, but I'm going with What Happens When the Heart Just Stops by The Frames. I decided to not make this my song of the year because I think I actually like the live version from 2003 a little bit better. But it's just really like this slow, sorrowful tune, full of regret, full of heartache. The way it builds so slowly and that little synth running through the background, it's almost like a heart monitor. I don't know, this song is just like a go-to whenever I want to wallow in sadness. It's definitely not a pick-me-up, but I think it's great. And then going with One Man Guy by Rufus Wainwright, which is a cover of his dad's song, Loudon Wainwright III, one of his tracks from the 80s. I think he covers it beautifully, and there's something about the song, it's like about being solitary and being self-reliant. And the fact that it's being passed down from like father to son, I don't know, there's something kind of moving about it. But it's also just a great vehicle for Rufus's voice. His voice is incredible, and he sounds really good on this track. And then the last one before we get to worst songs, I'm going with Carolina by M. Ward. I think this was the first M. Ward song I ever heard. I probably didn't hear it until 04, something like that. But his voice, when I first heard it, just stopped me in my tracks. And there were several years there where he kind of felt like my own little secret. I was listening to these records so much, his early stuff. I didn't really hear him on the like public radio or anything like that at all until a couple years later when he seemed to kind of break through, and then he was doing the Monsters of Folk stuff. But there was a window there where like M. Ward was like my own little secret, and I just listened to this record and the one after it on repeat, and I love this song. So there we go. Time for the bad stuff.
Well, it's cool that he was your own little secret, but all of the people in the comments section that claim that you just like to be contrarian now have ammunition by what you just said. So, but I got your back. Well, Joe ruined my life last week by not giving Train the worst song of all time, but god damn it, I'm giving them worst song of 2001 at least. Drops of Jupiter, or Tell Me. Hey, 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 hey. This guy cannot say the word hey and not have it annoy the shit out of me. I don't know what it is, but it's a terrible song. The lyrics are just awful. I hate the fried chicken line. Like, it's just, I don't think he captures any sort of mood. Like, it's not cute. It's not funny. It's not silly. It's not intimate. It's just stupid. And it's so overproduced too, like the na 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 la na na, and then like strings and piano and everything. It's like, hold up, guys, for God's sakes, it's too much. You're getting swept away when there's nothing to be sweeping. It's ridiculous. I hate it. A lot of people in the comments during March Madness were like, this is the Drops of Jupiter is worse than Hey Soul Sister. And I disagree with that, but I'm not going to argue with you. So it's a terrible song. There were a lot of contenders this year. So maybe I'm being a little biased and just getting some vengeance here, but it's worthy pick.
All right. Well, Jason had this on his best of, and it's not going to win for me. Worst song. It's so close, though. I have to bring it up. Hanging by a Moment. Absolutely hate it. Such a weak song. But if I'm going to be honest, I'm going to go with the other band that sounds exactly like this, because their song is slightly worse. I have The Calling with Wherever You Will Go, which makes Hanging by a Moment sound like Creed or something. And that is a step up. We're going steps here. But oh my God, this one went like all the way to number 5. And it's just the most generic cookie cutter rock song. And I don't know which one was first, but I always felt like this one was just ripping off Lifehouse. But they came out the same year, so I guess that's not possible. So whatever inspired either and both of those horrible songs, I don't know what it was. I'm going to guess Creed or Goo Goo Dolls or something. Who knows? It sucks, though. I hate it. I hate every second of it. Just the way, there's no way he really sings like that, right? Like him or the Lifehouse, dude. It just sounds like such a put on. Just because like that was popular at this time. Gives me nightmares.
All right, so we're all going kind of generic pop rock. M. Ward's voice stopped me in my tracks, and so did this one, but this was in a bad way. I was like, what is that? I'm going with Superman, It's Not Easy by 5 for Fighting. This voice is so nauseating. It's the wimpiest, lamest, whiniest voice that I've ever heard in my life. He sounds like a kitten that's just been neutered. It's so horrible. The song is really bland and forgettable. He sounds like he's practically gagging on some of the high notes. It's so bad. I didn't really realize until reading about it a little this week that it was actually kind of took off because of its association with 9/11. The song's about like heroes and them not being afraid to show their emotions, and it's okay to be a superhero and still have feelings, and it's okay to cry about it and whatever. But oh man, I mean, you'd think for a song like that you'd want someone who sounds a little like a hero. This guy sounds like, I don't know. I don't know, he sounds really lame and pathetic, and it doesn't seem like he seems like he's only crying about his feelings and he's not doing anything heroic, so it doesn't really work. Just a really bad song.
Yeah, all good choices there. He had the light rock was so lame it made like the bad like rap rock like POD Alive charted, and I was like, I'm not even considering this as one of the worst songs because there's so much competition. Like, so bad. But all right, in a completely different vein, my favorite song of 2001 is the second track from my album of the year winner. It is Guilty Cubicles by Broken Social Scene. It is an almost entirely guitar driven instrumental. It is absolutely gorgeous. When I talked about this album and albums of the year video, really struggled to really just poetically describe it. So all I can say is just go listen to it. It's got all these just really romantic layers of light guitar that still kind of sting you a little bit. It's really relaxing and methodical. Like it's almost a song that you could just put on and close your eyes and like meditate to or something. Just relax, just sink into a bathtub or whatever, stare at a lake for an hour and just have it on repeat. It's so soothing and delicate and fragile. And the way they do it is really cool because there's just all of these little guitar parts, and like every stanza and verse just adds another one and just builds this really docile emotion to it. It's incredibly creative and it's just really touching. For an instrumental piece, it really gets to me. It really speaks to me. Like I can like hear words that aren't there when I listen to it. It's just fantastic. It's not going to win, but please give it a listen out there, everyone. I think it's really nice if you got a late night drive home or something. It's really touching. Joe's already crying. Just listen to me think about it. Look at him. Oh, this poor guy down there. All right, Joe, you talk about your winner. Thanks, everybody.
Sorry, I'm crying because I know Jason's going to pick Wilco and win this year. My winner for 2001, going to go with a song we talked about a couple months ago. We had a special guest on, and we shared this song. It is Digital Love from Daft Punk. I just think this is the greatest electronic piece of music ever created. It's like 70s prog rock filtered through, electronica. And despite, Daft Punk being robots. It just feels like it has such a human soul to this song. The lyrics just really pretty, really cool, really interesting. It has a ridiculous solo that I guess it's played on a synth. I don't even know, but it probably has the best solo of the whole dang year, maybe the whole decade. The whole song is just winding and magical, and they break out the original Wurlitzer piano that Supertramp used for the little bridge part, gives it a nice little human emotion, human heart in there. I just think it's wonderful, such a cool tune. Digital Love from Daft Punk is my 2001 winner.
Speaking of Nordista, I've got his shirt on today, so look at that. My winner. This might be a little bit of a battle. I don't know, maybe with Joe. We'll see. New Slang by the Shins. Another song that I probably didn't hear until 2004. And I probably heard Shoots Too Narrow before I heard this, but this one almost feels symbolic in a way. That quiet fade in, I don't know, I can almost picture like a curtain opening as it fades in and those little like humming campfire melodies come in. It's almost like the song is like opening up the world of indie music to me when I first heard this. A world where production was like small and intimate and so different from everything else I had listened to that point in my life. The emotions felt real and they weren't slathered in balladry and reverb. It was kind of funny. There was humor in it. I like the line about, cutting your thumb and bleeding into your buns. I don't know. I think it was just a whole new path and a new direction of music exploration for me. So that is why it is my winner. It's also just a great song. So what's it going to be? Shins or Daft Punk or some Broken Social Scene? Could get some votes in there.
Again, two-man race. Although that means Reese is saving Wilco for 2002, which I don't know, that might backfire on him.
Yeah, I think because of the rules we made, he has to pick a song from this year, Joe. So since Wilco, didn't have an album.
Isn't that the one that came out in 2 different years? I don't know. We'll see. We'll see where that falls.
Joe, why don't you give us the standings now that talked about last week? But before we go, I want to do a little overtime session and go through more of these terrible, boring, generic rock songs from 2001.
Okay, well, in 2000, I think appropriately, Idiotique by Radiohead, Kramzer's Pick, was the winner with 48%. Quite a good win over Bombs Over Baghdad and Remember the Mountain Bed. So standing so far, I have 20, Jason 15.5, Kramzer now 13.5, only 2 behind Jason. It's too bad he picked such a lame duck for this year. Be nipping at his heels.
Did you caught that, Jason, right? What is with your pronunciations anymore, man?
What did I say?
Idiotique?
I have no idea. Why would I know how to pronounce that? Idiotech?
Yeah. I mean,
Idiotech? It's not a real word. How am I supposed to know how to pronounce it?
Last week you were fine. And in the Radiohead video, you're fine.
Idiotech, whatever. I blame Tom York.
Let's go through. I'm looking at the year-end Hot 100 here. Drops of Jupiter, number 4. If You're Gone by Matchbox 20, super lame. That horn that comes in, and I always hated the, I think I'm building an empire. Hate when he says that. Ugh. You also got It's Been a While by Stained, which is maybe the most sluggish song ever recorded. Just like never gets going. You got, that's how bad our songs are the worst of the year. We didn't even mention Nickelback yet, and this was like their big year, for God's sakes. How You Remind Me. You got Follow Me, that terrible Uncle Kracker song.
Don't forget Outside, the live version from Stained, featuring Fred Durst. That one, that was right there for worst song of the year for me as well.
Bouncing Off the Ceiling by the 18s. Thank You for Loving Me by Bon Jovi. My Way by Limp Bizkit. I'm Real by J-Lo. I always hated that song. How I Beat Shaq. Didn't make the top 40, but that's a pretty terrible song too. Aaron Carter.
Be Like That by Three Doors Down. Hemorrhage by Fuel actually isn't that bad. I don't mind that song. The worst song title of this year is You Shouldn't Kiss Me Like This by Toby Keith.
I find it weird that a bunch of like Travis Tritt songs are charting like in 2002. Like, where did that come from? I thought he was like older, like early 90s, and just like out of the blue, here comes Travis Tritt on the billboards, not just the country charts, but on the billboards. What the hell was going on in America?
It was the post 9/11 the thing. I mean, there's a ton of the red, white, and blue kind of songs. Someone in the comments did say, I bet Jason goes with Enya Only Time next year. And I thought that was hilarious. Great song. Lord of the Rings. No, that's not Lord of the Rings. Never mind.
All right, everyone, let us know what your favorite and least favorite songs of 2001 are. Drop them down in the comments. Let us know what you think of our lists. Be sure to hit the like button, subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so yet. Hit the bell for notifications, then check out the video description. You find Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, our website, where you can go and vote for which of our songs of the year is your favorite. Don't forget to do that. Also, we have our merch store there, as well as our Patreon if you'd like to support the channel and help us in selecting one artist that we cover every month on the channel. Check out all the links. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.